Most leaders think that people follow them because of their position, their title, or their experience. But here's the truth that leadership books rarely say out loud. Your team is going to decide whether they want to follow you within the first couple of days. They watch your tone, your consistency, how you handle pressure, and how you speak to them. That decision isn't made consciously, it's instinctive. And once they make it, it's incredibly hard to undo as a leader. Today, I'm gonna teach you how to be a leader that people genuinely wanna follow. Not because they have to, but because they want to. Not because you're the boss, but because they trust you, they respect you, and they believe in the way that you lead. And believe me, when you become that kind of leader, everything changes. Your team works harder, morale goes up, communication improves, and your stress drops off dramatically because your team is aligned and they're not resisting you. I'm Joe, and I've spent 20 years in the military leading in some of the toughest environments on the planet, where failures weren't just inconveniences, they were deadly. I've led teams under pressure, through conflict, and through heavy responsibility across all spectrums of leadership. And I've learned one thing: leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about building influence every single day. If you want practical leadership, productivity, and motivation videos every single week, hit that subscribe button. I drop a video every Friday. Now let's get into it. Here's followability principle number 1. Be consistent, not perfect. People don't follow perfect leaders. They follow predictable ones. Your team shouldn't have to guess what type of leader and who they're getting today. Are you calm? Are you stressed? Are you friendly? Or are you being short-tempered? Are you listening today? Or are you already defensive? Unpredictable leaders create anxious teams, and anxious teams perform poorly. Let me give you an example from early on in my career. I worked for an exceptional leader, one who was brilliant on paper, smart, sharp, talented, but you had no idea what kind of mood they were bringing to work every single day. One day they'd be supportive, the next day they were impatient and frustrated. These shifts, that kept everyone on edge. People stopped asking questions, they stopped bringing problems to the leader, they didn't raise their concerns, and eventually, trust broke down completely. I watched the team around me fall apart, not because the leader was incompetent, but because they were inconsistent. Your team should always know 3 things about you: your tone, your expectations, and your process. If these are constantly shifting, your team won't trust you. Here's your homework. I want you to choose 3 leadership behaviors that you will never change. For example, I will always start conversations calm. I will always explain the why behind tasking. I will always follow through on what I've committed to. I will always keep criticisms private and praise public. These 3 things will become part of your leadership identity. Consistency is the first ingredient toward respect. Followability principle number 2. Speak with clarity, not importance. Most leaders, they talk way too much. They confuse that volume with leadership. I find myself in the same situation even after 20 years. Communication isn't about proving that you're the smartest person in the room. Your team doesn't need any more speeches. They need clarity. When I was a younger leader, I made this mistake constantly. I thought leadership meant you had to sound motivational and impressive and had to have all these speeches. So I gave long explanations and overcomplicated basic problems. Sometimes I even talked in circles, thinking it made me look important and like I had everything put together. It didn't. It made my team confused. Throughout the years, what I've learned is clarity is key. Brevity is important as a leader. Master the art of brevity. Confusion kills momentum. Confusion creates mistakes. Confusion can create frustration. And frustration, that's the quickest way to lose your people. Here's the communication framework that I eventually mastered. I call it the rule of 4. When you assign a task or expectation, think of these 4 pillars: what we're doing, why it matters, what success looks like, and what to do if you get stuck. That's it. This level of clarity does 3 things for your team. It gives people confidence, it eliminates the fear of messing up, and It reduces follow-up questions. In the end, your team performs better because they understand the mission and they know what your expectations are. Clear expectations beat inspirational speeches every day of the week. You don't need to be charismatic, you just need to be clear for your team. Followability principle number 3. Courage in small moments builds huge followership. Courage is often misunderstood. People imagine dramatic moments, big decisions, or high-stakes confrontations. But the truth is that courage shows up in small moments that most leaders avoid. I've seen leaders freeze, not of those big confrontations, but over simple confrontations. Correcting those small issues early is a small step of courage. Saying, "I don't know, but I'll find out," is a form of courage. Telling somebody that their behavior isn't aligned with your expectations, that's courage. I see leaders all the time out with their people and they're not taking these small moments. They don't want to face adversity. They don't want to talk to their team about problems, and they just let these things fester because deep down, they're afraid. They don't have the courage to step up and correct somebody on the spot. As a leader, I have to do this every day, all throughout the week. And if I didn't do it, guess what? Our good order and discipline and the way we do things would erode quickly. And I expect my team to do the same thing with me. And all those things, they take courage. Those small corrections in the moment that take courage, those prevent long-term major problems within your organization and ultimately the culture and climate. If you let them go, then your culture and climate is eventually going to go down. Your team watches these moments, not those big speeches, not those big leadership gestures. They watch how you handle things when they're slightly uncomfortable. Courageous leaders build followership because people trust that you're going to do the right thing. And courage, it doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be big. Courage is quiet consistency in your values when it would be easier not to confront them. Followability principle number 4. Protect your team's energy. Your team's energy is one of your most important responsibilities as a leader. Most leaders burn their team out without even realizing it. Here's something that I've learned over 20 years of leadership. Your team is going to reflect your emotional state. If you're stressed, they become stressed. If you're overwhelmed, they become overwhelmed. If you're disorganized, they become disorganized. But the opposite is true as well. If you demonstrate calm, intentionality, and control, your team feels grounded and capable. I've seen leaders walk into a room with frantic energy. Everything becomes urgent, everything becomes dramatic, everything becomes stressful, and the team mirrors that energy. Here's how you as a leader should be protecting your team's energy. Don't spread that chaos, absorb it. Don't dump pressure downward, filter it. Don't panic publicly, process privately. Don't brag about burnout. Model balance. Leadership isn't about taking all of the work onto yourself. It's about managing the emotional rhythm of your team so that they can perform at a high level of sustainability. This takes maturity. This takes emotional control. But it's one of the most powerful followership drivers you will ever develop. Followership principle number 5. Follow through like your reputation depends on it. If you want people to follow you, there's one thing that you have to do, consistency, that's more important than everything else. Do what you say you're going to do. Follow through is the foundation of leadership trust. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, but it's the #1 trust builder. Here's the truth. Every time you say, "I'll check on that," and then you don't, every time you set a deadline and miss it, every time you forget something important, your leadership credibility takes a hit. And those hits, they stack up with your team. I like to say you're either building loyalty or taking away from loyalty with your actions every single day. I once worked with a leader who was kind, friendly, and had well intentions, but they forgot to follow up all the time. People eventually stopped bringing them problems because they knew nothing would ever change and they wouldn't help them. The leader was surprised when their influence collapsed. Credibility is fragile. Follow through tells your team, you matter, I'm reliable, I keep my word. You don't need experience to become the leader that people want to follow. You need consistency, you need courage, you need clarity, and you need strong follow through. When you build these leadership behaviors into your daily leadership battle rhythm, everything changes. Your team respects you, they trust you, they communicate more, they perform better, and in the end, they make your job easier. If you want more leadership videos just like this, hit that subscribe button. I drop one every single Friday. Which one of these 5 principles are you working on this week? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear what you guys are working on. Your leadership growth isn't a someday thing. It starts today. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.